New intro. So much love and appreciation to those of you who have been with me for the 2 year period plus that I've been doing this. Thank you for showing your love and support to the channel. And to anybody else who is brand new to the platform and you would like to support the channel, also, you can do it by way of Patreon, Anchor, the clothing store, and also the shoe shop that is listed in the comment description below. And again, thank you to any and all of you guys who have been here to support this channel during the 2+ year period. I wouldn't be able to do what I do every single day without you. All right, so we got this article, right, from the New York Times by one of the writers, Phil Mushnick, right? And he wanted to state that Snoop Dogg performing at the Super Bowl, in a sense, is making it worse or will make it worse, right? So we're just going to go over this article and go over a few of his points, right? So he starts off by saying, keep it real. Let's do it together. Last Saturday, during CBS's telecast of the Titans-Bengals playoff game, a commercial for Corona Beer aired, starring Snoop Dogg, who, despite countless arrests for guns and drugs, has become a must-have to endorse products. So what if he degrades women as one of his stocks in trade if he can sell beer? The night before the ad ran, NYPD officer Jason Riviera, age 22, was deceased by a weapon while responding to a domestic violence call in East Harlem. His partner, Wilbert Mora, age 27, also passed from his wounds 4 days later. Right, so I'm not sure if people specifically caught that, right? We went from a ad that played during a Titans Bengals playoff game, commercial for Corona beer, right? And then we went from that to Snoop Dogg degrading women, right? And then we jumped from both of those topics, right, which technically don't even have anything to do with the first topic, and then we fly into two New York officers performing their duties, right? And things didn't go right, and people ended up losing their lives. And somehow what he's trying to do is build it in a way to have you correlate Snoop Dogg with whatever took place with these officers that had nothing to do with it. Because like I said, if people pay attention, right, they said that this was for a DV call in East Harlem. This had nothing to do with Snoop Dogg and or his lyrics at all. But like I said, this is the New York Times, and this is how they allow their writers to put out things when they really and specifically don't have much to say about an artist or the topic, right? Let's continue. And then he further goes on. As I watched the Corona ad, I got to thinking about Snoop Dogg's violently anti-police, pro-crime, vile, and vulgar artistry. Mindful that Roger Goodell appointed and anointed Snoop Dogg the headliner as this year's Super Bowl halftime show. Perhaps Goodell, also in the interest of keeping it real, would like to rap along with a song by Snoop Dogg and J5 Slap entitled Police. At this point in time, this is what Mushnick is trying to do. Just like how he listed two separate things that in a sense did not have to do with the the Super Bowl at the moment in time, and then he wanted to correlate those with police, right? To basically have people's minds working like, yeah, Snoop Dogg, his lyrics have contributed to what has happened to these PD officers, right? So now what he decided to do is get the song titled Police, and he used the first part of the lyrics where Snoop is basically telling young black men, like, hey, instead of you basically looking at each other, right, as the problem or as the enemy, you need to look at the individuals who are overseeing your community, right, and also causing problems, right, by lying, by instigating, by harassing, and also legally by being able to, take the lives, right, of the people who you love within your community. And also, not to mention that police legally, right, are able to just put you in handcuffs for any reason at all. They can just list the reason out of thin air and decide to do this, right? So he's trying to tell the younger guys out there that, yo, you guys need to look at the broader scope of things. You need to see who realistically is the problem, right? But the funniest thing is that he never listed the chorus, right? Because that would take away from the point that he's trying to make. And the chorus states that you can't trust the police because 911's a joke. And if you live in a black community, which I'm pretty sure, let me make sure I got the name right, Mushnik, right, has never lived in a black community. Anybody who's lived in a black community knows and understands that the police is a joke. We understand that whenever we happen to call the police, they're not going to show up for an hour, hour 30, hour 45 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, or well into the day, or sometimes the next day later. And the precinct could be right down the street. Trust me, I know. I've literally had this happen, and we called because we were afraid that a break-in was occurring, and the police never showed up. So, like I said before, what was stated directly in that chorus is true. But yet again, Mushnik, being pro everything that is anti-black, he decided that he wanted to go at this angle in order to get other people that think just like him on his side. Because when I decided, right, to take a peek directly at the song Police, because I never heard it before myself, directly under it, anybody who read his article were in a sense quoting, either the article or certain things directly underneath one of those videos. Let's continue. Snoop Dogg's Super Bowl selection doesn't just meet the approval of NFL, and it's all about our fans, Goodell. The halftime show and Snoop's appearance is sponsored with the full, proud commercial and financial support of Pepsi, which seems eager to become the soft drink of hardcore. 5 NYPD officers have been harmed in the first 20 days of this year, and the fellow chosen by the NFL and approved by Goodell to star in this year's halftime produces, records, sells, and profits from artistry, advocating streets filled with the blood of cops and threats against those who would help solve the shootings of the cops and civilians. Want more? We'll give the part of NBC's NFL pregame panelist, Jack Collinsworth, Sunday after NBC presented a Super Bowl halftime promo narrated by Snoop Dogg. He stated that this was our friend Snoop. So, yet again, just in case you're not getting it out there, this guy obviously has a problem with black men, with rap artists, with individuals who have an opposing view when it comes to the police and also their own experiences with police. And that's one thing that people don't understand, right? Music is a way for artists, right, to express themselves, when it deals with trauma or PTSD or family issues with friends, issues in the community, different things like that, right? So he wants to try to focus, right, and form a lens, right, directly on Snoop Dogg and trying to say that, oh, hey, this is not a good look. You're putting this in front of American families, in front of, American kids. Look at what Snoop Dogg has been saying in one of his rap songs. Not every single rap song, but I'm just going to specifically point out one rap song. And then when I point out this rap song, I'm not really going to, go through the whole host of lyrics or over the whole song in general. No, 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 no. I'm going to cut out specific things which will specifically make the point that I'm trying to make. Mind you, like I said before, there's a clear-cut chorus saying that they don't trust the police, right? And that 911 is a joke. And that's been a running theme throughout the black community for years, for decades, Other people from other communities who don't live in a black community, they would not really understand because they have not gone through the exact same things, especially those that are part of the reflective majority, on this continent here. They will never understand what it is that the black community is stating when we understand and we know and we acknowledge the fact that 911 is a joke. When you call 911 and something happened at your house or you need them to get there as quick as possible, they're not going to show up. There was a news story that was done before where it talked about the response time of 911 in certain areas, and it showcased to you the problem that was there. A guy, a journalist who I like by the name of Charlie LaDuff, if I remember correctly, he was the one that actually did the video talking about the response time in Detroit compared to other places, I think in Michigan, also abroad in the United States as well. And Detroit, it fell way behind in the response time that should took place. And then on top of that, the usage of the ambulance, right, which is there, or I'm sorry, lack thereof, because of the lack of money and the funding that is going there. So therefore, you would have all these ambulance trucks just sitting, uh, um, in a garage or out, in on somebody's property, not working, right? Versus them working and being on the streets. Goes into the article and states that Corona Beer Marketing Department, your turn, ready? Snoop Dogg has a video in which he sings a version of NWA's F the Police while holding his crotch in a courtroom, right? The next, he also stated how the NFL also certified Eminem, listed one of Eminem's songs there. And then crotch grabbing, right? This is what he labels him, crotch grabbing Kendrick Lamar. He's one of those cases of tell me that you don't like black people without telling me that you don't like black people. It's pretty much, one of those cases right there. Like I said, I can pretty much look at him and tell he is from an older generation. He's much more of the, Beach Boys, type of guy, right? Where they always say like, oh yeah, I wish things would, go back to a certain, era and a certain decade of music where, everything was wholesome and, everybody was much more, upstanding and honest, and, they followed the rules to a T, and you didn't have all of these rule breakers out there. He's that type of guy, looking directly at his picture. And, no problem. I got it. No problem. Like I said, freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want to sit up here and say. But this is the thing, right, with freedom of speech. Those things have limits, right? And the limit here is the fact that, right, you work for the New York Times and you decide to publish, your work. And they allow you that freedom because it's unchecked. Because nobody at the New York Times cares what you're going to sit up there and write, and especially if it's, about black people. Because the funniest thing is that I never hear people like him talk about all of the music, right, that is in a sense detrimental to just black men, right? He's only going off of the sense of, okay, I care about the police and I might maybe sort of kind of care about women, but I really don't, right? Because notice how he went on the whole like women's thing as if he cared. He touched on that one time. The police thing, he listed that 3, if not possibly 4 times throughout that whole article. So that was his main point. His main point was to correlate Snoop Dogg with the violence or the non-support, right, of cops when it comes to the black community or potentially others through or by way of Snoop Dogg's music. Like I said before, he's trying to pin all and every single thing that happens to cops. He's trying to pin that directly on Snoop Dogg, right? This is what America does because he is a true American at the end of the day. So it's within his blood. It's within his DNA. He has to partake in this in order to get notoriety, in order to get these great claims and fortune and fame, right, from his community. And this is what it also looks like when you have somebody who is fading out, right, where their time is pretty much running out, where they're pretty much at the end of the line, right? They have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And that's basically what it is at this moment in time. So he's trying to go out with the bang. That's pretty much what he's trying to do with a lot of these articles here. And more so, what I'm specifically pointing towards, the ones that are very specific towards a dislike or a distaste for black men and whatever it is that they are doing, or how it is that they decide to express themselves. Like I said before, none of whatever he stated, because I'm trying to get this through to people, and I'm trying to get people to understand, because I told you guys over and over and over again throughout the 3 or 4 years that I've been doing this, that you need to pay very close attention to how it is that they write and how it is that they push and have these articles laid out in front of you. Because if you don't pay attention, a lot of these things that they're listing is going to go right over your head, right? It's not going to go to your conscious, it's going to go to your subconscious, right? And that's exactly how they get you, because they'll try to correlate things that necessarily don't even correlate with one another. If maybe he would have been able to correlate a song, and then that song, a lyric from that song was used during an incident, right? Or maybe somebody was playing that song, right, who committed that certain act of which he is speaking of, or whatever, maybe that would add a little bit more, right, to what he is saying. But right now, it's pretty much, it's loose threads that all have ends that aren't even tied to anything. But he decided to look at this and be like, you know what? Let me be Mr. Fix-It. Let me be the pretender real quick. Let me be MacGyver. And let me just link these to like a black artist real quick. Let me just type in some lyrics. Let me just look at these lyrics real quick. Let me not look at the discography of the artist itself and notice the evolution and the growth, of a person throughout their musical career. Because, if people actually pay attention to artists and you look at them, if you look at and listen to Snoop when he first started, and then you look at Snoop when he progressed, later on, touching into his, his 30s, right? Having wife, kids, different things like that. You'll see, that change, or even a little bit before then, you'll see those changes start to take place. And then when you look at the later Snoop and his evolution and his understanding of life and different things like that, you'll see an even further evolution, even by listening to the music that he is now releasing. Like I said before, whenever people want to try to make these points, they will try to always hold black people, and or specifically for this article, black men, to a certain standard. They'll hold them in a certain place and just tell them, like the police do, not to move. And that's clearly what he's doing here. He's basically holding Snoop Dogg at this one point and not looking at everything else, because that would yet again diminish the point that he is trying to make throughout the article, which is that Snoop Dogg's lyrics correlate with whatever transpired in New York with the officers that are there. Like I said, true Americans at its finest. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything not listed in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.